There are people who don't just live life, they feel it in every breath. They move through the world like open doors during a storm. Every sound, silence, glance, or song rushes in and settles deep. What feels like a passing breeze to others can knock them to their knees. They turn over a single word for days, haunted by tones no one else noticed. People call them too emotional, but that's not the truth. They're not fragile, just permeable. The world flows through them faster and deeper than most can bear. Psychologists call this high emotional reactivity, the nervous system's way of over-responding to life. But beyond science, it's a way of being a mind wired to feel. Where others are glass, they're water. Every ripple sends waves to the core. They don't only remember what happened, they remember how it felt. And while others move on easily, they carry echoes long after the moment has passed. In a world that glorifies detachment, this depth can feel like a burden. Society confuses numbness with strength and sensitivity with weakness. But what if the reverse is true? What if those who feel too much are simply more alive, more attuned to the pulse beneath the noise? What if emotion isn't fragility, but another form of intelligence, the kind that feels truth before it's spoken? This sensitivity often begins in childhood. They're the ones called dramatic, told to toughen up, teased for crying too easily, so they learn to hide their feelings, to smile through pain, to apologize for their tears. But repression doesn't erase emotion, it only buries it alive. The body keeps the diary, the heart rate quickens at conflict, the mind scans for rejection. Feelings silenced in youth grow into anxiety, burnout, or guilt for simply caring too much. And yet, those same hearts are the best at reading others. They sense discomfort before it's voiced. Notice the shift in a friend's tone, the quiet in someone's eyes. That's not magic, it's attunement. Emotional empathy sharpened into instinct. It's a survival skill, a way to predict pain before it lands. But it's also their undoing. Because when you absorb emotions easily, you don't just feel your pain, you feel everyone's. You become a sponge for the world's sorrow. Often, they mistake emotional turbulence for love. The highs and lows, the storms and silences, they feel familiar, intoxicating, like home. But chaos isn't intimacy. Healthy love doesn't leave you breathless. It steadies you. Emotional people fall quickly, trust deeply, and hurt completely. When love fades, it's not just heartbreak, it's identity loss. They gave pieces of themselves away, and now they don't know where they end and the other begins. This pattern, psychologists call it emotional fusion, seeps into friendships, families, even work. They overextend, overgive, overfeel, hoping that care will earn belonging. But beneath their empathy hides fear. Fear of rejection, fear of not being enough, fear of being too much. So they keep giving until they're empty, mistaking exhaustion for compassion. Ironically, they become the most caring people who feel the least cared for. There's a phenomenon known as emotional contagion. Science says our brains mirror others' feelings through neural reflection. For highly emotional people, this empathy runs wild. They absorb not just emotions, but atmospheres. A tense room makes their chest tighten. A sad story lingers for days. After a crowded gathering, they're drained not from talking, but from feeling too much. So how do you live in a world that overwhelms you? It starts with boundaries, not walls, anchors. Emotional boundaries say, I can care without becoming. Boundaries aren't distance, they're balance. Compassion doesn't mean self-erasure. You can hold someone's pain without carrying it home. The same depth that makes life heavy also makes it beautiful. Many artists, writers, and dreamers were built this way. Hearts wide open, tuned to frequencies others can't hear. Their emotions become instruments, translating the unseen into art. They find meaning in sorrow, light in confusion, poetry in ache. Their tears aren't weakness, they're ink. Their gift is seeing the world in feelings instead of facts. But awareness isn't the same as control. You can understand emotion and still be ruled by it. Emotional mastery isn't suppression. It's surfing the wave instead of drowning in it. Feelings are energy in motion, not orders to obey. The art lies in saying, I feel this deeply, but it doesn't have to consume me. Psychologists call this affect regulation, the ability to feel fully without being flooded. Those who learn it don't stop being emotional. They simply stop letting emotion dictate who they are. That's the shift from chaos to clarity, from reaction to reflection. To reach that place, emotional people must release the guilt of feeling. Sensitivity isn't a flaw, It's design. It's the soul's way of perceiving the world. When someone says, "You're too emotional," what they really mean is, "You feel more than I can handle." And maybe that's fine. Maybe the world needs people who cry at beauty, who ache for others, who still feel wonder in a desensitized age. They are the keepers of empathy, the quiet proof that humanity isn't lost. Emotional people don't experience moments, they inhabit them. Joy becomes a sunrise that lasts hours. Heartbreak feels like a season that never ends. Their memories aren't archives. They're relived sensations. A single song can transport them back years, heart racing, as if it were yesterday. Science explains this through emotional memory, the amygdala tying feelings to events. But beneath biology lies meaning, a rare ability to feel time as texture, not sequence. This is why people are drawn to them. When others speak, they don't just listen, they receive. They hold space where pain feels safe. Their empathy is magnetic, a gravity that pulls broken pieces toward healing. Yet, this same gift often turns inward as self-blame. They feel responsible for everyone's moods, convinced they caused every silence. It's compassion turned into self-punishment. The lesson is subtle, but life-changing. Empathy is feeling with, not for. Feeling for someone so deeply that you lose yourself isn't kindness. It's self-abandonment. True compassion has boundaries. You can love without rescuing. You can care without carrying. Growth begins when you let others face their storms while you tend to your own. Emotions, at their core, are data, not destiny. They tell us what matters, what hurts, what needs attention. But emotional people often mistake these signals for truths. If they feel unworthy, they believe they are. If they feel anxious, they assume danger is near. This is emotional reasoning when feelings replace fact. Healing begins when they learn to witness emotions without worshiping them. I feel this strongly, but it doesn't define reality. That single pause transforms chaos into clarity. When you resist emotions, they persist. When you allow them, they pass. Emotional wisdom is born not from control, but from curiosity, asking what the feeling is trying to teach, rather than what it's trying to destroy. Sadness can mean rest. Anger can mean boundary. Guilt can mean growth. The wise emotional person doesn't silence emotion. They translate it. And still, it takes courage to live like this. The world says, grow thicker skin, but thick skin numbs. What emotional people need isn't armor, it's grounding. Grounding is staying rooted while waves crash, remaining soft without shattering. It's learning that peace isn't the absence of feeling but the calm within it. Highly emotional people also possess a rare intuition, a sixth sense tuned to energy. They catch subtleties others overlook, a flicker in someone's eyes, a rhythm shift in a room. Neuroscience links this to heightened activity in the insula, the brain's empathy hub. But intuition without trust becomes anxiety. So the challenge isn't to feel less, but to trust better. To know when your intuition is wisdom, and when it's just an old wound speaking. Many emotional people battle perfectionism, endless self-review, guilt for imagined wrongs. They try to manage emotion by managing themselves. If I do everything right, they think, no one will hurt, no one will leave. But perfection is fear disguised as control. Peace begins when they stop performing safety and start accepting humanity messy, unpredictable, real. Emotional healing isn't dramatic, it's quiet. It happens in moments when they choose not to overanalyze a message, when they sit with discomfort without rewriting the story. Over time, those small choices form stability, a calm center strong enough to hold all storms. And once emotional people learn this art, they become the most grounded souls you'll ever meet, because after surviving their own hearts, they no longer fear feeling. Love, for them, remains both their tenderness and their strength. They love completely, sometimes too soon, sometimes too much. But when they learn to love from fullness instead of emptiness, they discover something sacred. The right love doesn't overwhelm, it harmonizes. It doesn't shrink emotion, it gives it a home. Real intimacy is when your emotional world is seen, not shamed. The psychology of emotional depth isn't about fragility, it's about frequency. They live life in high definition, brighter joys, sharper pains, louder silences. That intensity can hurt, but it also awakens. They dwell at the intersection of mind and heart, translating life into meaning. The goal isn't to feel less, it's to feel right. Not every emotion deserves a reaction, but every emotion deserves recognition. Emotions are not verdicts, they're voices. When you listen wisely, they guide, not govern. To feel deeply is to be human in the truest sense. Logic builds systems, but emotion gives them purpose. It is emotion that fuels art, drives empathy, births connection. Without it, intelligence has no direction. So maybe being too emotional isn't the problem. Maybe the problem is a world that forgot how to feel. Emotional people are not broken. They're reminders, proof that life is meant to be felt, not filtered. If you're one of them, if you love deeply, cry easily, think endlessly, remember this. You are not weak. You are vividly, painfully, beautifully alive. Your sensitivity is your soul's way of saying, I'm still here. Don't numb it. Nurture it. Let emotion move through you like water, not to drown, but to cleanse. Because the world doesn't need fewer feelers. It needs more hearts willing to stay open when everything else closes. Emotion, when understood, becomes light, not blinding, but revealing. It turns chaos into compassion and pain into purpose. Feel deeply, care freely, stay awake in a world that sleeps through sunsets. You are not too much, the world is often too numb, but depth always finds depth. And when you meet others like you, you'll see, those who feel too much are the ones who make life worth feeling at all.